Hi friends, my name is Debbie Abel and today we're gonna be painting this cute little garden. I found this picture on Pinterest and I thought was the best picture or the best scenario to show you some techniques on how to do texture like grass, trees, wood. So this picture is gonna be just for inspiration. I do not paint realistic and I'm using Paul Rubens palette, and also I'm using a journal which is not 100% cotton paper. So let's jump in and get started. We're gonna start off by putting our sky, actually the clouds. So I'm just using my sienna and my ultramarine blue. 50%, 50%, very light, lots of water, not too much color. And then I'm using cobalt blue for the sky, a lot of water, not too much pigment. And I'm just going in circles to make the clouds look fluffy. And every time you add too much water or too much paint, just have a paper towel handy and just wipe off any excess. Now I'm picking up a little bit of this kind of like a violet that I have here in my palette, whatever leftover I had in there, just to give a little bit more color. Then I went ahead and add my sap green. I added some cadmium yellow and I put this as a background where all of my grass is gonna be. I'm doing some splatter. I wanted my flowers to be like in the background. Usually this works pretty good, but I'm gonna use some of my masking fluid just to help keep some areas light, just in case they kind of fade away or get in between the grass and you don't see them that much. So I'm just doing some extra step to make sure we have some lighter colors at the end of the painting so we can add the flowers. And I'm just doing it in some areas. As you can see in the reference photo, there's some big ones in the front and there's some little ones in the back. So the closer to us, the bigger they are, the further, the smaller. Then I went ahead and put the bushes in the back, just in circles. I added different levels of values, different values of my greens. I added the light one first, then the medium, and now I'm adding my darker one. And just going in circles. It doesn't have to be perfect. They're in the background, so we don't have to see them that much detail. They're all the way in the back, so we don't have to worry too much about that. And if you feel like you need to kind of blend it, just use another brush, clean it, wipe off any excess, and do some blending in there. I decided to add a little bit more texture to my clouds, so I'm just picking up a little bit of my shadow color, and like I said, I added a little bit of my violet and just go in circles again. Very simple. And make sure you blend any edges. Clean your brush every time you go back, clean it, wipe off any excess, and just go in circles on top also. Now I'm gonna be moving to my flat brush, and I just want to cover more area of my paper, so I'm using my sap green with some cadmium yellow and just applying this in the center. I'm also putting, I believe it's my lemon yellow, and I'm putting it where I see the lightest green in the picture. So I'm doing the exact same thing. Wherever I see that light color, I'm just putting that one in there. Cleaning my brush again, picking up some of my sap green, adding some to the side, and then we're gonna bring this color all the way down. We're gonna move the brush all the way around where you see all of the green, and try not to touch those dots with the color because the paint is gonna move, so go really gentle. Now I'm adding the back of the grass just with the tip of the brush. Really simple. It's gonna blend a little bit because our paper is wet. So it's gonna do some blending. It's gonna move around and then use the back of your brush. This is another technique, and just pull them all the way. And this is gonna give you the kind of like the texture for the grass. It's gonna leave some marks in there for you, and then you can always do some more color on top of that one. So very simple, just pull them with your brush. And now I'm adding some more green. This is my sap green again, more concentrated color. And I'm just going around this path, and I'm putting the grass where I kind of see where the medium green is, just zigzagging. Really simple, nothing crazy here. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. Make sure you give it a like. It will help this channel to grow bigger, and also it will mean the world to me. So please don't forget to subscribe and give it a like. Now I'm putting my sienna, and I'm just adding this kind of like a mulch that I see on this path, just some areas, and the paint is gonna start moving. It's gonna do its thing, so clean your brush and just wipe off any extra that you see. And then we're gonna cover this and we're gonna do some splatter. I love splatter. It gives a lot of texture, especially for roads or streets. In this case is the little path with the mulch. So we're gonna let that dry. I put some salt, and the salt, what it does is gonna repel the paint, and it's gonna give you this beautiful texture with a lot of dimension. And now I'm moving to my poles. So for this one, I'm using my sienna, very light on the color, and this is very simple step. I'm just adding a little bit of the sap green here and there, some areas like you see in the picture. There is some kind of green in between the brown, so we're gonna be adding that to it. And this is my size number 3. And just adding some of that green in some areas, not the whole pole, just few areas here and there. Bringing this down. And we're gonna be adding some more mixture here. And it's okay if your palette has a mix of brown and green. If they mix together, it's fine. It's gonna give you more texture. It's gonna be looking even better. Also, friends, don't forget to check out my Etsy store where I have a lot of listings. I have most of my videos. I put my paintings in there, so please check it out. If there's something that you like, let me know, or if there's something that you saw in a previous video and you like and you don't see it in my Etsy store, let me know and I can list it also. Now I'm adding my brown, and here is the same color, just the sienna, and I'm adding a little bit of my green, just a little bit, not too much. And then we're adding the top of this fence, and I put my yellow ochre. I feel that it was too light, so I'm adding a little bit of my brown, just the tip of the brush, not too much. And then we're moving to the other side of the pole and doing the exact same thing, same colors, just bringing this down. Remember to add some of your sap green in the mixture. We want this multicolor to blend in. And this one is just my brown. And we're gonna bring this over here. And then we're going back to the flat brush, put in my sap green again. If your brown moves a little bit, it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, this is supposed to be stress-free. You're supposed to have fun when you're painting. You're not supposed to be stressed out. That's not my intention. I want you to relax and enjoy the process. I'm adding some more sap green, and we're gonna bring this down here. And like I said, go gentle on those dots. They're gonna try to move a little bit, but it's okay. It's just gonna add some more texture. And now with the same brush, I'm just making straight lines. This is gonna give the illusion of grass, and just going around where you see all of those plants and grass. Really simple strokes. There are many ways to make grass. You can do it this way by just making lines. You can also do it by adding salt. It gives you a lot of texture depending on what type of grass you're trying to get. But in this case, for me, I like to make lines. Is the easiest way. It's very relaxing. So I'm just putting some line marks all over, and the paper is wet, so still spreading a little bit, but it's okay. We want a blurry effect. And then we're gonna do the exact same thing on the other side, and this one is just a mix of my sap green and a little bit of ultramarine blue, just to make it a different value than the sap green. Just putting those marks in there. And then as we go, we just keep adding more ultramarine blue to the mix. So it's gonna give you a darker value, a darker color, and just continue to do those lines. You can also use the liner brush if you want really thin lines, or you can use maybe a number 1 brush if you wanna be more detailed. And it's okay if some are thicker, they're gonna blend. So don't worry too much about that one. And I'm just adding some more marks here and there. Really simple. And as you can see, the path is getting beautiful texture because we already put the salt on the mulch. So it's giving you this rocky look. And that's what we want. Don't forget to remove the salt before you add any color to it. We don't want no bumpy stuff. Make sure you remove the salt. So like I said, the sap green, we just keep adding more ultramarine blue, and we keep making darker values or darker colors. And we're just continuing doing the line marks. Really simple. Just all the way up. Everywhere you see there is grass, you're gonna put these lines. And as you can see, the previous ones, they're already blended, and it's giving you this beautiful like 3D dimension. We're gonna continue adding more layers. This painting, it's a lot of layers, so we're just gonna keep adding more and more and more until we feel that is good enough, and then we move to a different place. And then I got my fan brush. This is another technique to make grass. Just use a fan brush. The older, the better. And it's just gonna give you these beautiful lines. They are not gonna be perfect. They're gonna be different sizes, because some of the bristles, they're a little bit shorter than others, and so it's gonna give you different heights. And I'm just putting this on the road, and then I'm adding some white for more texture on my grass. It's okay if it goes up where the little bushes are, it's fine. You can always fix that. You can always do some lifting. And this is gonna help us with the flowers when we wanna add those colors and make them bright. Now I'm using another technique. It's called dry brush technique. And that means you're gonna get your paint. You don't add no water to your brush, just the paint. And you're gonna put your brush completely flat to the paper and just scrape that paper. And you're gonna put this brown in some areas. We don't want to cover the previous colors. We want to have lights, mediums, and darker ones. Now for the trees, to me the easiest way to make leaves is with a sponge. And you can buy this in Michael's, you can buy them in Hobby Lobby. I got mine through Amazon, and you just put the color that you want and you just let the sponge do the work for you. I'm adding more texture to the grass. This is another technique, and you just press on the sponge, and it's gonna give you this nice, beautiful texture. We don't want to cover everything, so don't get too excited. Just a little bit here and there, and then we go back to the trees. I'm putting the sap green first, and then we're gonna move to a medium value, and then to a darker value. So just press, really simple. This process is super healthy. I feel like I get so much joy when I do this. It just relaxes me somehow. And I'm just adding my medium color in some areas. And this sponge already had some of the darker greens, so it's kind of blending in the trees, but it's okay. We want to add more colors to the leaves, so it's fine. It's working perfect. I'm adding a little bit of my cadmium yellow with the sap green just for more highlights. And then going back to my road, just adding some more texture with the dry brush technique. Just few places. Remember, we don't want to cover the colors that we had before, the lighter ones. We want to keep those nice and clean. And then I see there's some here, like a dirt road or something. I'm just adding that in the back. And I'm adding sap green to the back of my kind of like the field. And I'm doing the dry brush technique also. So don't put water, just pick up paint. And remember, your brush has to be completely flat on the paper. I'm adding my sap green with my cadmium yellow just to make a lighter version of my green. It's kind of like a lemony green, and I'm just adding this wherever I see the light green. Then I move to my sap green, and we're gonna blend this. If you can go inside your grass, it's even better because it's gonna give this beautiful texture, and it looks like this is going inside your grass. And just zigzagging, nothing crazy here, just zigzag. Clean your brush whenever you feel like it's too much paint and just move it around. Always have a paper towel handy, and also your water. I'm adding some more color. Sometimes I pick up the light, sometimes I pick up the dark, and sometimes I just get the one in between, which gives beautiful different colors of green. And then another technique for trees is you have a really old brush, and if the bristles, they have different sizes, even better, because you're gonna have different heights. So just press on the paper, tap, and we're adding some more texture to the trees. And this is my sap green with a lot of ultramarine blue. Just adding those darker colors to my tree. And just some areas, we don't want to cover everything. We want some of the lighter ones and some of the medium ones. And just applying this in some areas. You can always go darker if you want. As the reference photo, you see there's some darker colors. But for now, this is what we're doing. I see if I go back to it later. Depends how I feel. I added some Payne's Gray also to make it even deeper color, and I'm doing the same brush technique right here on the grass, just adding some more texture. Just add those in some places. And then we're going back to the pole and we're gonna do some dry brush technique. And I'm just using whatever leftover I have on my palette. Pretty much is the sap green with the lemon yellow to give the greenish color to my fence. And so is this side. Also, you can use mixed media, like you can put crayons or watercolor pencils, and that will give you a lot of texture too. That's another technique that you can use if you don't feel like watercolor is doing it for you. Maybe you need some mixed media, and maybe you can add the crayons, or maybe you can add the color pencils, the watercolor pencils, for more texture. Yeah. I'm just making the lines for this fence, and I'm using my sienna, a little bit of Payne's Gray to make it darker. And we're just making those marks that show the wood is wood. Like I said, this is just a reference photo. I do not paint realistic. I feel like realistic is just too much, and you have to spend a lot of time trying to get all the details. And this little painting, it took me an hour to do. So if I go too much into details, it would take a long time, you know, so the video would be way too long. It will not be 30 minutes for sure. But I'm trying to make it as simple as possible, and then you can make it your own. You can add as much details as you want. I'm just giving you an example. I'm just giving you the inspiration, and then you make it your own. You can add as much details as you want or as little as you want. It depends how you feel that day. And just making those marks. Really simple steps, but it makes such a big difference in your paintings. And I'm just using the exact same color. It's just my sienna with a little bit of Payne's Gray. You can also use ultramarine blue if you want. If you don't have Payne's Gray, you can use your sienna and ultramarine blue. And sometimes I just pick up Payne's Gray straight from the palette. It depends if I want to give a really deep shadow or I want a lighter one. And then we're gonna do the other pole, making those lines, bringing it down. And the same thing, we're just gonna put those lines for the wood. And you can go as crazy as you want with the grain of the wood. You can put as many details. For me, I just try to keep it simple, not too complicated. And then we're gonna do some brush for this part of the fence. And if you feel that you put too much paint and you don't like it, just get a paper towel and remove that paint. Just tap it and take off the excess. Like you see, I just did that, so it looks so much better. And then we're just gonna put the line to represent the piece of the wood. Same on this one, it got lost a little bit in the green spot, and just put in those marks. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. And we're gonna do the same on this part of the fence. Same here, some dry brush technique. And then we're gonna do the fan brush again, just to add some more texture, some areas. Picking up the light color, just to give more texture and more dimension. Make sure you keep some areas light, because that's where the flowers are gonna be. So if you put darker colors, the flowers maybe won't pop that much. But you can also use the crayons on top, or maybe wash. You can mix it with your watercolor just to make it on the lighter color, and then they will pop for sure. And just put in those marks that represent my flowers. They don't have to be perfect, because nobody's measuring flowers. So as long as you have those colors in there, they're gonna show in the grass. And just some places, it doesn't have to be exact same, but at least you give the idea that the flowers are there inside the grass. Same in the back. I'm just using the tip of the brush, and I'm just zigzagging here and there. Just few places. I don't think I'm gonna put that much. And then I'm adding some of this color here and some areas. Same over here in the back. I see some of that purple, and just zigzag with the tip of the brush. The more you press, the bigger the dots are gonna be, so try to keep it nice and easy. And I'm just adding some more here on this side. Then I tried to add a little bit of the wash. I feel like the flowers were kind of lost inside the grass, so I'm making it a little bit bigger in the front, and just adding in some areas where I see they need to be more bright. Same with the purple. I added a little bit of my wash and the mixture, and I'm just trying to bring them back to life. They kind of got lost in the green. So I'm adding some little dots here and there, not too much. And the darker color is helping us to give like a shadow for those, so it's working pretty good. And then I'm doing some dry brush technique for the wood, just adding some more texture to the wood for those extra marks. Not too much, because you don't want to cover the entire thing. And I see there was a rock somewhere here in the back, so I'm just adding the final details. So pretty much we are done. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on my next video. Take care, friends. Bye bye for now.